Hi, crafty friends. So today I'm making a photo album. I'm using some base that I made. If you want to know about the base, just leave me a comment below and I'll hook you up. It's done with a hinge that I learned how to make with Paper Phenomenon. You can find them on YouTube as well. And there's just a base, and it has cardstock, regular cardstock. So I'm going to measure and paste on some papers. I bought some papers from Michaels. They have regular cardstock, but this is papery. This is not, it's not very thick, so it's very flexible and actually would make really a good writing area to add some stuff to. So now initially I wanted to get as much paper as I could, and I didn't cut that little hole off, and so I had to redo it, and then it turned out no need to pay attention to that. I wasn't sure how much I could get out of this. It's roughly about eight and a half by maybe 11, maybe 10. It's a nice section. I have a lot of paper in there. And so, yes, it's Halloween themed. I would think that you would understand that. So the clips on my book, you can see I did that so that I could have the glue really set well before I started doing anything else. Sometimes I forget about my how I do my hinges, and so it gets messy. I did another piece that I made with some really thick cardstock, but it was too thick, and so it wasn't flexible enough to make it book-like. So I went back to my regular cardstock. Now I've taken this page and I'm going to do it on the front and the back of my book, and then I take some contrasting or coordinating, I think is the better word for it, papers, and you'll see that the papers really are they coordinate very nicely, and you'll get to see a variety of all the papers in there. Now there's this hinge has these flap here in the front. That's where I'm going to put the front of the book, and if you stay to the end you'll see the heavy cardstock I use for that. It's really thick and works very, very well for books, the hard covers. Excuse me. I don't use tape because, well, you do you, boo, but I use the glue because then it gives me time to maneuver it. If I use tape and glue, that works out nicely, but these papers are so thin, there's no need for such, heaviness. And this way I can just maneuver it, make sure it's sitting right, and then I just make sure the glue spreads underneath. I have a frog in my throat. And it looks pretty good, doesn't it? It reminds me of the old-timey Halloween colors. They're not bright and in your face. They're very subdued. So I like it. I think it'll work out nicely for a photo album. Now I don't have a lot of spooky stuff in this, but I do have some graphic 45 that I use later on. And like I said before, this is all real time. You can fast forward as you need to, and there'll be timestamps in the bottom that kind of guide you. I mean, I can't timestamp everything. I did the best I could for an overall understanding of what's in here. So you see I use the front cover and the back cover have the same thing, and then in between I'm going to use coordinating paper. And just looking at the paper is really cool because it's really a nice little set, and I have so much left over now. I think there's like 90 sheets or something. We catch the glimpse of the front, we might be able to see the number. And like I said, that's from Michaels. Michaels has everything out for the fall and Halloween already. So we all have to save our pennies and get in there as soon as we can. So a lot of the paper was really very, I don't know, I liked it. Very old-fashioned, old-time, reminiscent. In this section, I take the papers and I'm just going to cover the entire book or the pages in coordinating paper, and then I'll be back in to explain what I'm doing later. It's very simple. I mean, this is something that easily can do. You just, whatever the measurement of your pad is, you take maybe about a quarter or half an inch off, depending on how wide of a border you want around it, and have at it. So enjoy, and I'll see you in a little bit. So in this section, I take the scraps of all the pieces that I had left over, and I made these pockets that were also little tuck spaces. So I folded it in half. Well, first I have to clean the glue off. So I made a pretty big mess out of that. And I use the corners, I even off the edges, and you'll see it's easier to see it, in my opinion, than for me to explain it. I just fold it in half, put glue on the outside edges, and then tucked it in. I had to trim it because I didn't like the white hanging off, and it's just, I tried doing like doing edges with some ink, inking the edges, and that just got messy, so I didn't do that. So what I'm going to do is put a little glue around two of the outside edges and then fold it up. Once I got, the glue was just, I'm running out of glue, I think. I had to keep shaking the bottle. There we go. And then, the paper is thin, so you really have to be gentle. Try to even it up. And then hopefully I get to that point where I show you where I put it. Oh, I guess I'm going to make them all now. use the amount. So I use my bone folder to kind of get the pages to level in, so they all equalize. And the paper's, I don't want to say flimsy, but it's, yeah, it just comes across flimsy, so you have to be really careful with it. And I turned the side where I put the glue on is what I had towards the spine of the book when I placed them in the book themselves. A little much on the glue here. You could see how really light this paper is. I mean, it works, but it's I used this paper to also make some cards, but I had the cardstock on the back, so I have the heavy cardstock and then the paper as decoration. So I don't know, I think I was taking the glue off my hands in this section. Again, I'm going to remind you, you can always fast forward to the parts that you want to see. I don't do a lot of talking, just describing what I'm doing so you get a good idea. It's really, I think if I do a live, it might be better to have interaction. But I need a coffee break. Be right back. Okay, so this is where I get to show you how I put this in. So remember, the top part is open on these, and I turn the seams towards the spine, and I'm just gonna glue it on two sides, the side in the seam and the side on the bottom. There we go. And I try to use contrasting coloring. So these are orange and black, and I tried to put them on black and white paper so they popped. They said, and actually this paper has a little bit of a purple hue to the decoration that's on there, which I thought was kind of cool. And I think I'm trying to find something to put in there to show you. Either that or I'm taking the glue off my hands again. I have no idea. Okay. There it is. So see, you have that. And then there's a tuck spot in the tuck spot. A tuck spot in the tuck spot. The only thing you have to be careful of is that you don't get your cardstock caught in the glue while it's drying. Let's see if I show you the interior of the... Yeah, I think I'm going to try to show you. Come on, Maryanne, show them. Okay, maybe not. Nope, here it is. So I'm going to put that in. See? Oh, nope. This is it. This is going to be it. There we go. And so that's a little tuck spot there. I was afraid of it popping off. And then one behind it. So I'm going to find another spot. Here we go. We're going to put this one in there. Make sure I get the get the top going in the right direction. So there it is, and that's that. I'll let you watch. So these are the only ones I put in there. I could probably have done more, but no, there's going to be other things coming in, and I wanted to have the open space to work with. So those are my little pockets that I put in. Okay, so with the scraps that I had of cardstock, I made inserts to put into the tuck spots. Tuck spots. Yeah, I think that's where little tags. They're not heavy, and I took some extra paper and made it so that they could decorate those. And I'm just going to check there we go, see? And we'll decorate those and put them in and then go to the next thing. Okay, so this is the covers. Now this cardstock is really very thick and heavy and does better for the cover. So I had these two pieces and I'm just measuring to make sure I get it the right. It was like maybe 1/4 of an inch that I had to cut off. I wanted it just slightly bigger than the pages to protect it. So I'm only going to trim about 1/4 of an inch off, maybe just a little less. But I just like to have that little border to protect the pages. Because this, you could see how thick this stuff is. Yeah, granted, I shouldn't have been doing to it one time, but yeah, I have ish. And there we go. So let's see if that works. And then I'm just going to take the spine and glue that on. See the little flap I have from the spine, and glue that on to there. And then we will be moving on to decorating, and that will be fun. So this is part one because it is a really long video. I do want to make it so that for people that know how to do this stuff, they can go through it quickly, and for those that don't, they can watch each section as it happens. So the next video is going to have the decorating of this particular thing. I have some graphic 45 that I'm using, and I didn't do heavy stuff. I want to keep space for photographs, but I did do some embellishment. I hope you'll come and see that one, and if this is something that you were happy with, dislike even if you weren't happy with it, a comment if you have any questions. I'll try to get back to you. Share if you know somebody who's learning about doing mixed media work and want to make a little photo album for themselves. Be great. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I appreciate that, and I'll talk to you in the next video.